right, what's up, Pride Nation? Back at you with another video on today. Make sure you hit that subscription button, subscribe to the channel, click on the bell so that you'll be notified whenever we put up an upload. And without further ado, let's go ahead and talk about the GM on today, Brad Holmes. Definitely want to celebrate Brad Holmes on today because I feel like the vision that I'm seeing that Brad Holmes has for this team is starting to pan out. The draft picks in 2022 are starting to make an impact, and they're getting valuable experience out on the football field. Guys like Kirby Joseph didn't know that he was going to step in this season and play some solid football for the Lions. Did not know that Malcolm Rodriguez would eventually end up being a starter day one, being drafted in the 6th round. And then Hutch, who is a 2nd round pick overall, is definitely panning out as well. Did not think that Hutch would be a bust at all. I thought that he was a very good selection for the Detroit Lions because they needed somebody with a hot motor, and I think that Hutch is going to get better. I did expect for Hutch to probably get around 10 sacks on the season, but that's fine. He's been able to do other things. He's leading all, I guess he's leading all linemen with 3 interceptions, and there's some guys on our team that play in the secondary that don't even have 3 interceptions. But maybe I think it may be Kirby Joseph may probably be the only one. But definitely, man, a phenomenal year for Brad Holmes and the drafting class of 2022. These guys are making an impact. You can see the vision that that Brad has for the Lions, being able to build through the draft, and also building a winner's mentality and building a winning culture in Detroit. This is what we wanted to see in Detroit, the turnaround. This is the turnaround that a lot of fans been waiting on. Brad Holmes is starting to deliver. And shout out to Brad Holmes, man, for definitely being able to get impact players in 2022, having guys pan out. So you know that when 2023 comes around, just getting the missing pieces to the team is going to be the icing on the cake. I definitely think that the talent that Brad Holmes has been able to bring in here, especially in later rounds, has been phenomenal. You know, getting guys like Malcolm Rodriguez, getting guys like James Houston, who has been a juggernaut. Nobody knew that the kid that played at Jackson State would come in and dominate the way he's been dominating in the last few weeks. James Houston has been off the charts. And I want to definitely be able to celebrate that young fella. He is straight out there balling. Now, I can only imagine if Houston had gotten more playing time and was on the team, and what I mean by on the team, on the active roster at the beginning of the season. James Houston is balling. And if you can continue to get him to play with that consistency like that, and then you got Hutch doing his thing, and then eventually being able to get guys like Josh Pascal, who has shown up this season as well. Man, I got to say that Brad Holmes has hit on these draft picks, and I only look for 2023 to be better. We got to go out there. We got to find the missing pieces to the puzzle. We know that we need some linebackers, so that should be on the agenda. We know that we need probably another defensive tackle because we're unsure of what's going to happen with Levi, you know, because he deals with chronic back issues, and that stuff can linger on and on and on and on and on. So hopefully Levi can get healthy, but if he cannot get healthy, you may have to spend another draft pick on getting a defensive tackle. Maybe you grab a guy like a Jalen Carter. Maybe you move up in the draft and get a player like him. Maybe you go out to Brian Breesy from Clemson. Maybe you go out to Big Massey from Michigan. You know, there are several different guys in here where you can go and get somebody that got girth and size that will be able to help them guys get the push up the middle. You know, that's definitely something they need to do. And also, if they decided to take another defensive end, I would not be mad about that. If the Lions decided to take a running back, I would not be mad about that. You know, with the running back situation currently, this is what's going on. And I just want to put the fans on notice on what's going on. Pretty much DeAndre Swift is on a 1-year deal. The Lions could bring DeAndre Swift back. They don't have to trade him. They don't have to do anything. They can have him as a scat back or a change of pace type of running back if they decided to go out the RB1 in the draft. Now, with Jamal Williams playing as well as he has played, he may end up getting a contract extension from the Lions, but I think it's going to roll on the it's gonna roll on the fact of what type of money Jamal may be looking for. And I don't think that Jamal is going to try to break the bank or anything like that. He has had his best career being a number 2 backup and ended up eventually starting for the remainder of the season and has balled out, man. And he has a chance to go over 1,000 yards against the Green Bay Packers, his own former ball club. So that's going to be special for Jamal Williams, especially doing it against your old team. But definitely, man, Brad Holmes has been phenomenal with a lot of players. There's been a couple misses, but for the majority of it, he has been doing really well. And I love seeing the growth, and I love to see the morale of the team changing. Guys are high-fiving each other. When you're winning, man, there's nothing else to talk about but just getting them W's, man. That's what you want at the end of the day. And now that Lions have had some success, now they need to learn how to build character. Now they need to be able to know what their identity is going into 2023. And now when you go into the draft, you go and get those impact players. You go draft those guys that's going to make a difference. I wouldn't, if the Lions decided to take a Bijan Robinson in the first round, which I don't think that the Lions would probably do, knowing how teams, it's all about how teams value the running back. The only thing that would change people's minds about the running back position and drafting a running back that high is the type of money that he's going to garner. It's like, okay, well, we might as well give Jamal that money instead of giving it to a new running back. We can get a late round running back, and that's true. You can do whatever you want to do. You know what I'm saying? But if you want somebody that's going to change the trajectory of this team and a guy that's an elite running back, definitely, man, Bijan Robinson is that type of guy. He's that type of dude. He can do it all. He can catch out the backfield. He can go into the slot and catch. He can pass protect. Maybe he needs to clean it up a little bit once he gets to the pros, but he can pass protect and he can run that football. And that would give the Detroit Lions a weapon at the running back. Now, there's other running backs that you could take too as well. Guys like you could take guys like Sean Tucker. You could take Zach Charbonnet. You could take the Mohammed kid from Minnesota. There's different running backs that you could go for in later rounds. You don't have to necessarily go after a Bijan Robinson. But if you want that stellar running back, and we really haven't, if you look at our records and you look at our history, we really haven't had a running back the caliber of a Barry Sanders in Detroit in any of these years that we've had running backs. Nobody has had the longevity that Barry had, being able to get 1,000 yards every season and just being that type of football player that Barry Sanders was for the Detroit Lions. Now you look at other franchises who have had draft success at getting running backs, guys like the Dallas Cowboys and the Pittsburgh Steelers. They've always had great running backs. You know what I'm saying? After Emmitt Smith, now you got guys like Ezekiel Elliott, and now you even have Tony Pollard, who's balling out for the Cowboys. And then when you think about the Steelers, you think about the days of Barry Foster, and you think about the bus. You think about that's Jerome Bettis, if you don't know. You think about Jerome Bettis. You think about I'm trying to think, man. They had so many running back. Willie Parker. All of these different running backs that they had. Franco Harris, guys like that. So they have a tradition of being able to get top-notch type of talent on their roster. And now you think about it, they got Najee Harris as a running back. So we haven't had that type of success that other franchises in the NFL have had at the running back position. We still are trying to find that dude that's that guy. And I believe if Brad Holmes was to take a Robinson, definitely that would be a phenomenal thing. But he doesn't have to do that, because I understand that the defense does need the talent. They do need talent on the defensive side of the ball. So whatever the Brad Holmes decide to do, I'm down with it. I see what he's doing, and I love everything that he's doing. He's changing everything about this football team. And only thing they can do is continue to lay one brick at a time. And once they continue to keep laying these bricks and they get these missing pieces to the puzzle, especially on defense, man, the Lions are going to be a scary, scary team, man. The talent is so good in Detroit right now where you know that these guys are going to be scary. They're going to be scary because we're getting top-notch talent in Detroit, premium talent in Detroit. And I know that Brad Holmes is thinking to himself, how can I get the players in here in 2023 that's going to really, really turn this franchise around? Because that's the only thing that we're missing. We're missing guys that can help change this franchise. We need a linebacker that is athletic, linebackers that are smart, guys that can be able to help out and cause damage. We need some impactful linebackers. And I just got to keep a buck with y'all. I think that that's one of the positions that we fail to ignore sometimes because we just look at the linebackers we have and we say, okay, Anzalone has been okay. He's been doing good. No, we should never settle for just being good. We should settle for being great. You should always have greatness on your mind. At the end of the day, you're getting some players in here that's going to really, really help this linebacking core. We see that that's been a weakness for our team for years. You saw how we gave up 321 yards to the Carolina Panthers. That should tell you that we need linebackers. And there's no knock on Malcolm Rodriguez. I love what Malcolm Rodriguez has been able to do. But he's going to need some help. He can't do them by himself. You're going to need guys that can cover at the linebacker position. Guys that can just make a splash, man. They need those athletic type linebackers, man, to come in here and help this team be able to stop the run. Because what's been a problem for the Detroit Lions? Being able to stop the run against most teams. Being able to stop the run. And once the Lions are able to start stopping the run, and they got guys that's giving that push up the middle, and then you got those linebackers flying through the gap, making plays. I'm telling you, man, it's going to be big business in Detroit. So I know that this is on Brad Holmes' mind to be able to get the key players in here that's going to really, really turn this franchise around. And I think in 2023, you have to go out and you got to go get premium talent. I don't care what position is at. You got to go get guys that are premium that's going to help this team head in the right direction. And I think at the end of the day, Brad Holmes will make the right decisions. You know, we as fans, we have our opinion on what we think the Lions should do. You know, some people say that the Lions should draft all defensive guys. You cannot draft all defensive guys because you might need a guard or something. You might need another running back because the running backs are free agents. So the Lions still have to make decisions on what they're going to do with Jamal Williams. You know, most people would say do the smart thing and re-sign Jamal Williams. And that's true, yeah. He has earned it. He has definitely earned himself another contract. Jared Goff has been lights out. I'm not saying replace Jared Goff, but there's nothing wrong with developing a quarterback behind Jared Goff as well. That's the thing that they fail to recognize. You're not saying replace Jared Goff. You're saying have a quarterback ready just in case Jared Goff gets hurt. Nobody's thinking about that. Nobody thought of, I'm sure San Francisco 49ers was not thinking about Trey Lance getting hurt. They wasn't thinking about Jimmy G going down. Two quarterbacks that are starting caliber quarterbacks. They didn't have that on their mind, but you know what they did? They said, you know what? You know, we like this Purdy kid. We're going to keep this kid. We drafted him, and we're going to see what this guy can do. And now look how it's panning out. Now, I'm not saying that this happens for everybody because some teams just flat out don't know how to develop young quarterbacks. And with the Detroit Lions, we need to learn how to develop young quarterbacks. It is what it is. We need to learn how to do it. So I'm not saying on a limb that we need to go out and replace Jared Goff. Hear me clearly for everybody that loves Jared Goff. I'm not bashing Jared Goff. All I'm saying is basically you need to develop a quarterback behind Jared Goff, and that's just my opinion. Now, you may not like my opinion. You may not like what I'm saying about it, but I'm just speaking the truth. There's nothing wrong with developing a younger talent behind Jared Goff. The Lions still have Jared Goff on a 2-year contract. They haven't given him an extension yet. If Goff goes out and balls out next year, I'm sure the Lions will probably eventually extend him. But you'll be able to have a young guy ready to go in the wings. If Jared Goff, if anything was to happen to Jared Goff, you'll have that young football player available. And then they need to think about what they're going to do with the running back position. DeAndre Swift is a dog. We all know that. DeAndre Swift is very talented. We all know that. We all know how talented Swift is, and we love him as a player. But at the same time, when you're a GM, you have to make the hard decisions sometimes. It's production over talent, because you want somebody that's going to produce and somebody that's going to be reliable and somebody that can be dependable in the backfield. And if you can't be there, they're going to replace you eventually. They're going to replace you eventually. That's just how it goes. It's the nature of the business. No matter who you are, no matter if you're running back, quarterback, wide receiver, linebacker, corner, safety, offensive lineman, defensive lineman, no matter who you are, you can be replaced. It's the nature of the business. The NFL is a business, and they can get rid of you at any given moment, any given time. Why do you think that players fight so hard to get guaranteed money on their contracts? They're not fighting for anything else, but they're fighting for that guaranteed money. So I say this, I'm definitely not attacking DeAndre Swift. I think that Swift is a very, very talented running back. I know what Swift brings to the table. And the Lions, at the end of the day, they got to make a decision that they got to make. None of us are going to make this decision. It's going to be Brad Holmes and the coaching staff that's going to make the decision. I'm sure that Brad Holmes knows that the running backs that he have on his teams are free agents, including Jamal Williams, Justin Jackson, who've been brought on his team. And then Craig Reynolds is a restricted free agent. So there's some decisions that has to be made. But I love everything that is going on. We haven't really missed a beat at tight end. We got all three of these tight ends playing well. Zylstra, Brock Wright, and James Mitchell. You don't need to draft a tight end. We don't need to draft no tight end. I know some people may say, go get the tight end from Notre Dame. We don't need them. We don't really cater to tight ends well in Detroit. We cater to receivers more so than the tight end. So, having guys like Brock Wright, having guys like James Mitchell or Zylstra, those type of guys, we're fine with those type of players. That's the reason why we were willing to part ways with TJ Hockenson and not pay him a boatload of money. So I think the decisions that Brad Holmes have been making for this team has been phenomenal. It's starting to finally come to fruition. I see the gold. I see the rainbow at the end of the tunnel. I see the pot of the gold, all of that, man. I see it. I see it clearly now. They're building through the draft, and he just has to continue to go out and be successful by grabbing guys that's going to make an impact on this football team. If you want to make it to the playoffs next season, and not only make it to the postseason, but win a game in the postseason, then you got to go out there and you got to go and scout the talent. Talent trumps everything. Best player available trumps everything. If you can get a Jalen Carter, you grab him. If you can get one of the best cornerbacks, you grab him. If you see a linebacker that's there and you know that you have a need for linebacker, and you know that kid can play, you grab him. You don't waste time. You grab him. So I just love everything that's going on right now in Detroit, man. I'm happy to finally be able to say this, that it feels good to be a Lion fan. It feels good to be able to start winning football games. And you know that you got talent on your team. You see Jameson Williams doing his thing now, finally being able to get a few touches, and then the Lions also got to make a decision on Chark. Chark has been playing well for the past couple weeks, whether or not to give him a 1-year or 2-year deal to bring him back in. So there's a lot of responsibility that Brad Holmes has on the table in the offseason. But the main goal at the end of the day is to go out and go get some dogs. You got to go get some dirty dogs on this team. Go get the best players that you can, Brad, and I know you will. All right, you guys, this is Raw Detroit, and I'll be back to you soon with another video.